I spent my formative years, the 1990s, in a quaint, unassuming part of Gombak, located at the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is a small, close-knit community where everyone knew each other and word of mouth spreads wildly. Growing up, I've heard and experienced things that centered in the macabre, mysterious encounters, strange going-ons, something the community wishes to forget. It didn't help that we live adjacent to the infamous haunted highway of Malaysia. Not me though. I still remember these stories vividly. Among the various tales, a specific experience terrifies me to this very day. It had been a couple of years since my family shifted to this part of Kuala Lumpur. It is a somewhat new housing project developed over a secondary jungle. There are still pockets of villages close by, old roads, farmlands, and swathes of jungle land waiting to be developed as new housing projects. I was around 10, following my father to a nearby jungle on a Sunday morning. In my household, we had a habit of not killing vermins. Rats or mice are caught in a cage, a trap, and brought to a nearby jungle and released. The jungle we were headed to was situated next to a village, beside an old road, and not far from my house. We stopped at the outer perimeter of the jungle, not far from a small wooden hut. My father brought the cage to a nearby clearing and released the rat. I saw the rat hurriedly run along a grassy path, disappearing into thick bushes. Even for a sunny morning, the jungle looked dark and foreboding. Right in the center, towering over this sprawling darkness, I could clearly see a massive tree. It was desiccated. The barks were black, devoid of any leaf, and dried creeper plants enveloping it. It was an eerie sight. My fixation on the tree was suddenly broken by the raspy sound of an old man shouting at me. He was barely coherent, but his body gestures clearly suggest that he wants me and my father away from the jungle. My father stared sternly at the old man and dragged me away from the place. We immediately fled the scene. Later I found out that the man was a hermit suffering from TB. Lives in the small hut that he built and known for selling contrabands to the local youth. He was also said to keep strange company with shady folks spotted around the area. Our community were advised to distance ourselves from that jungle and not to interfere with the old man or take heed of the strange going-ons in the jungle. But to me, after that incident, I could not see the black tree, which now became clearly visible whenever I passed by that area, taunting me with its mysteries. Couple of years later, my interest in the black tree, which had slowly waned, was jolted back to life. I saw my friends and his older brother standing beside the desolate main road, clutching a folded up small book while looking intently towards the jungle. I approached them, asking what they were doing. Look, it's the same tree," said my friend, as he shoved the folded book to my face. On the page is a black and white grainy picture of a dark tree. I grabbed the book to closely examine the picture, judging by the curve of the branches, the surroundings, placing it side by side with the actual crooked pillar of terror. It was unmistakably the same black tree. I was dumbstruck. What is this? What is this all about? I pounced the brothers with a barrage of queries. We sat on a stone bench over the monsoon drain nearby, and they excitedly explained what they had unearthed. It was an expose from a digest-sized national periodical, infamous for its lurid jaunt into the paranormal and the immoral. As the brothers were tantalizing me with scandalous bits of the story, I scanned through the article, It was a 4-page investigative piece about the haunting of the mysterious black tree located in Gombak. Folk tales shared by the denizens of the village nearby. Sightings of rituals performed at ungodly hours. And mainly, the frightening stories about the lady in white who terrorized the place. The lady had a hankering for the children in the village and gleefully preyed upon them at night, especially the ones playing at the field after returning home from religious studies. She relentlessly chased them, jumping from trees to wooden roofs, perched outside on window sills, balconies, fences or gates of houses, calling them out. Kids who had accidentally seen her at night would run a high fever the next several days, with mysterious bite marks on their arms and feet. A popular story that happened in the village was about a neighbor with a big family. His daughters became hysterical one night around bedtime because they had heard someone yelling at them outside their room. This spooked the other kids in the house, and the parents decided to bring their mattresses down so they could all sleep together in the living room. Around 4 a.m., 2 of the boys were awakened by the sound of rocks hitting glass. The front of their house had a huge window with a clear view of the street, and they were shocked to see a lady standing in the street, looking at them. Picked up a rock and hurled it towards the house. The rock smashed the window and the boys screamed in terror. This woke everyone up and sent them into a frenzy. The next morning, the father told his neighbors about the incident, and they organized an ad hoc neighborhood watch to nab this nocturnal menace. The community was told to be alert and wary of strangers at night. The neighborhood watch members took turn and kept vigil for several nights, but it was fruitless endeavor. The writer of the article even went to the village at midnight to investigate the haunting himself. After spending days on steakhouse near an abandoned house, at around 2 a.m. he spotted the lady in white walking along some wild bushes near the corner of the village. He trailed her from afar, heading to the jungle. The man stopped outside the jungle, unable to see in the dark. He shone his torchlight, searching frantically for the lady in white. He saw her walking slowly towards the black tree and disappearing into it. In the article, there was a double-page illustration of the black tree. At the base of it, there appears to be a huge head connected to the tree trunk. There's even an illustration of the lady in white. She was draped in a white cloth, long disheveled black hair, a white face with blackness for eyes. The most unsettling part was her mouth. It was a long row of tiny razor-sharp teeth, unlike a shark. That image, especially that menacing face, is still etched in my memory to this very day. I started sharing this story with other friends, neighbors and family members. Some had heard of and experienced strange going-ons. Some had encountered the woman in white, occasionally crouched on the old village road. Not everyone uses the village road. It is narrow, uneven, badly lit, winding, and at night very spooky. My father himself had seen the white lady a couple of times. While returning home from the night shift, he uses a small road that runs parallel to the highway to return home. Illuminated by blue light from bug zappers placed all over the farmland. It is an isolated road used by motorcyclists to bypass the highway or the village road. He has seen a lady always walking hurriedly along the road in the dead of night. He thought it was a local villager, maybe headed to a house nearby. Judging from what I had shared from the article, maybe what he saw was the mysterious lady in white. I kept hearing more stories about strange going-ons in the village, especially pertaining to the lady in white. A few years goes by and suddenly there was a new and rude awakening. The jungle area was cordoned off with scaffoldings. It was earmarked for a new housing project. The secondary jungle was cleared by the developers. In the hustle and bustle of development, I noticed something. The mighty black tree. It was gone. The crooked pillar of terror no longer sticks like a sore thumb over the surroundings. I saw its carcass burning away in a plume of smoke, together with other trees cut down for the project. Finally, that unholy thing is gone for good. There was a palpable sense of relief now, a dead calm. Well, not for long. You just can't extinguish something as mystical and powerful like the black tree without some serious repercussions, because all proverbial hell just broke loose. It was around 10 in the evening and I was enjoying something on television when my enjoyment was cut short by a blood-curdling shriek. It came from a neighboring house. There was a continuous series of screams, unmistakably from a child. All of us in the family were listening intently behind the window, trying to discern what was being said. Sounded like a child quarreling with his parents about not wanting to go to school. The next day, the same thing happened, and this recurred for 1 week. The kid refused to go to school and stayed home alone. This became a hot topic in the community among irate parents who felt the child's parents were just too soft in managing the child. One fine morning, I saw the father and an elderly man chopping down a tall palm tree in their garden, and soon the screaming stopped and the boy returned to school. Several days later, my mother was chatting with the boy's mother and the topic of her son came up. The mother explained that her son, a shy, quiet child, unexpectedly refused to go to school one morning and just wants to be left in the house. He would uncharacteristically start quarreling with them every day. One day, the parents tried to force him out of the house, causing him to throw a fit and become violent, screaming, "The scary lady on the palm tree wants to kill me! Oh my goodness! No, it can't be! That sounds like the malevolent lady in white, and she has made her way to my neighborhood."